Who went to school with someone who is famous now and what was she like? Larry Page, founder of Google, went to my high school. He was teased and disliked by most. My woodshop teacher kicked him out of the class for unsafe practices. He has publicly said how much he dislikes his hometown and high school experience and refuses all requests to come speak at local events and graduations. Good for him. I would do the same thing to my high school if I ever got famous. My teacher went to school with Steve-O. She said she saw him jump off a balcony at a party. Sounds about right. This isn't from school, but my dad was neighbors with Conan O'Brien growing up. My grandmother was a dance teacher and she said Conan specifically wanted private dance lessons involving a top hat and cane routine. Also, my dad says he has a specific memory of Conan jumping off the wall that divided their yards, waving a sword around and yelling "Sic Semper Tyrannis." No one in the family is surprised at all that he now touches his nipples and gets tangled in a chair during the commercials for his show. In the 1970s, I was in college with Nancy Cartwright, who is the voice of Bart Simpson. She was bright, funny, enormously talented, and very kind. And even then, she did amazingly cool voices. She left our university to finish her degree in California, studying with great voice artists. My friend was Brad Pitt's college roommate and he thought Brad was gay for the first few months of knowing him. My uncle went to high school with Stephen King. He apparently never passed in any of his English assignments on time. I went to HS with Norah Jones. I would sit in the piano practice room and eat during lunch while she played sometimes. She was quiet, but sweet, and just amazing to listen to. I went to HS with Pink. She was a couple years below me. I didn't really know her, but had mutual friends. It's funny, on her wiki it lists our HS, which she attended for like 3 months I think. She got in enough trouble to get tossed from the regular HS into our district's problem kid school, where she dropped out. I used to watch Pink play on a little crappy wooden plank outside of a gas station. My 5th grade teacher taught Shaquille O'Neal, and one year when I was attending the school he came and brought her flowers. Shaq frequently goes to my mom's office. He gets like honorary police badges or something. Anyway, she said he is the biggest, nicest guy to be around. Went to middle school and high school with Josh Hutcherson. The Hunger Games, Red Dawn. He pretty much kept to himself and he seemed like a nice enough guy. Everyone kissed his ass and girls would lie about dating him, so he eventually left to homeschool. I can't blame him. I've heard a lot of good about him though. Recently, one of his brother's friends got paralyzed in a car accident and Josh helped out with her family's fundraiser. My boss went to school with Weird Al Yankovic. Oddly enough, he said Al was weird. Apparently, he's very shy. Went to college, NYU, Department of Dramatic Writing, with Donald Glover. Classy dude, and hilarious in a dry, not outrageous, way. We had several classes together over the years, but I haven't seen him since we graduated. I doubt he's changed much, except for the whole got famous, rich, and even more awesome thing. My mom went to high school with Robert Downey Jr. and said she didn't know him personally because he was a pothead. I went to high school with Taylor Swift. I didn't know her well, since she was a freshman while I was a senior, but she stood behind me in chorus. She never struck me as prude or uppity, like some people like to report. She was an alright singer, but nothing special. I think she's come a long way, though, obviously not without the help of vocal coaches. I was in her grade, sat next to her in English 10 honors. She was nice and kinda funny, but she wouldn't give me free guitars and that made mad. I was fraternity brothers with Will Ferrell at USC. In interviews, he'll talk about entering one of our classes and pretending he was a maintenance worker. He'd bring a plunger. He was easily the funniest guy in the room, on campus, everywhere. But he's actually a pretty quiet, shy guy when he wasn't doing his pranks. A couple of years ago, we were living in Baltimore and I emailed Will that we had moved. He'd be in Baltimore giving a talk and invited us to meet him at his hotel. When he showed up, I introduced him to my older son, my wife who had already met him, and my younger son, L. I said, "This is Will." Will reached across the table and my son just stayed silent and his jaw, literally, dropped to the floor. Wish I had a pic of that. Will is still being worth $100 million or so, a really good guy. Brandon Crawford, starting shortstop for the SF Giants. Cool, nice guy then, same now, good for him. My mom went to high school with Neil Patrick Harris. She said that she didn't know him very well, but he was really good in all of the school's drama productions. I would be pretty much devastated if I heard that NPH was anything but a sweetheart. A friend's dad went to the same high school as Robin Williams. Said he was really weird and would hang out by himself at his car in the parking lot doing impersonations to nobody. Well, all of that practicing paid off, I suppose. Passion for something can look weird to bystanders. I have a cousin who went to elementary school with one of Will Smith's sons, though I'm not sure which one. The Smiths would have birthday parties for their kids and invite the whole class. My uncle would go too since my cousin was young at the time and he'd get to talk to Will. He told me that Mr. Smith is a very friendly, down-to-earth person. My mom went to high school with Tom Cruise. Her best friend went on a date with him and said he kissed like a fish. Went to HS with Usher's little bro, real cool dude. But what amazed me was how cool Usher is. He constantly had a bunch of us dumbass kids over at his house and was always cool as frick and very accommodating. Would even let us sit in his studio, which was amazing, and watch him make tracks. Super nice family. I don't know why, but I always got the vibe that Usher was a cool guy. It made me happy to see that he actually is. I went to high school with Stephanie from Full House. I didn't know her personally, but heard she was a bit of a bee. Then again, I also heard that people followed her around yelling, "How rude," so I don't really blame her. Also, my older brother ran into her car in the parking lot during driver's ed. What I've gathered from a quick read of this thread: good, Nancy Cartwright, Shaquille O'Neal, Will Smith, Usher, Norah Jones, Stephen King, Nicole Sullivan, Cuba Gooding Jr., Josh Hutcherson, Pendleton Ward, Daniel Tosh, Rihanna, Emma Stone, John Stockton, Vince Vaughn, Tyler the Creator, Bad, Amanda Bynes, Michael Phelps, Lindsay Lohan, Wendy, Clay Aiken, Kobe Bryant, Oscar Pistorius, Zac Efron, Emmy Rossum, Mariah Carey, Weird Al, Robin Williams, Tim Burton, Smelled Like Hot Dogs, Christina Aguilera. In college I met several people who went to elementary high school with Christina Aguilera. They all said the same thing: she always smelled like hot dogs. I met a few kids in high school who went to school with her that said the same thing. I don't know if I believe it or if everyone was jealous of her so they made something up to hurt her feelings and get her on their level. She was pretty successful from an early age. Knew Blake and Kyle from Workaholics for years. They're good dudes. Kate Upton frequently competed against my little sister for pageant, bikini, and modeling competitions in the Central Florida area. She was incredibly polite, sweet, and humble, albeit a bit ditzy and bubbly. A friend from college went to HS with Amanda Bynes and told me stories about how she would just put out her hand and say Diet Coke and one of her followers would rush and get her one. My mom worked in the office at her elementary school while she attended. She was sweet. I went to high school with Lindsay Lohan. I never talked to her, but from observation she was in Butthole. She has the "I've been famous since I was little, so I'm better than you" attitude. She's a great actor, though, because in Mean Girls she is just like the plastics, and nothing like her character. Her brother was pretty nice though. Mike went to the same college as me but was a few years younger. Didn't hang out with him a ton, but when I did he was a nice enough kid. Definitely not a reflection of Lindsay or their mom. You have been visited by the Hedgehog of Happiness. If you want some of his joy, comment "I love you, Happy Hedgehog." If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.